Vishnupada Krishna Prasaptave Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Sunyavadi Pasacha Deshatarine. Oh, Maharaj, I feel very inefficient sitting here with two senior Prabhupada disciples sitting there and on Prabhupada Disappearance Day. Whenever we're celebrating Prabhupada Disappearance Day, I'm sure all the Prabhupada disciples will remember exactly where they were, what they were doing when they got the news that Prabhupada has left. And I think that memory is burned into the memory. So every time when they come to this time of the year, it brings me back to New Mahaprabhu. It was just after the Govardhan Puja, and I had already visited Koshners, stayed some days, spent 10 days in Koshners. I was joking that Ishwari was the one who helped me to bloop the first time. Because I found out that she was going to Stockholm. I said, oh, I come with you. I had no idea how to get to Stockholm from Koshners. So from there, I ended up in Paris and New Mahaprabhu. And we were actually having breakfast. And we already said the Sarya prayer. And just as you were having the spoon of porridge, before it reached my mouth, the vice president came in, Peter Das. He said, we just received a telegram from Vrindavan, and Prabhupada has just left the body. So that spoon of porridge never touched my mouth. So all the plates were all served out, and they all remained uneaten. And we all went to the temple room and chanted all night. And then the next morning, during Guru Puja time, it was the most amazing scene that I observed during Guru Puja, where adults, they were singing, and when they were calling out the name of Prabhupada, everyone was crying. And dancing at the same time. They were all dancing and crying. Never forget that scene in my mind. So, whenever I read Prabhupada Lilamrita, one most important lesson came to mind and inspiration that come to mind is his faith and his dedication to the instruction and service of his spiritual master, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta. If you look at the life of Sri Prabhupada, he didn't meet his guru many times. The first time was in Calcutta, where he was forced by his good friend to go and see a sadhu. And that time Prabhupada said, I've seen enough sadhus in my life. But didn't want to argue his friend in the middle of the road, he went. And that was when he received his first instruction from Sri Bhaktisiddhanta. Even before they were introduced, he was just offering his obeisances. And immediately Sri Bhaktisiddhanta instructed him, you are an educated young man. You should preach this teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the English-speaking world. And Prabhupada at that time was a Gandhian, following the Gandhi movement. And he argued with Sri Bhaktisiddhanta that first, India has to be liberated, have to get independence, otherwise nobody will listen. But Sri Bhaktisiddhanta impressed upon him that the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so urgent, we cannot wait for independence. It should be now. And Prabhupada said that from that moment onwards, he has accepted Sri Bhaktisiddhanta as his spiritual master, his guru. And he was always meditating on how to fulfill this instruction of his spiritual master. Even though he did not get initiation until like 20-something years later. But he already accepted. And that's the real acceptance of the guru, is you accept the guru in your heart. So that the initiation just become a formality. Otherwise, the formality is there, but the acceptance is not there in the heart, then what's the point? Then it just remains a formality. So he was always trying in his own way. When the Gaudiya Math came to Allahabad, he was helping in different ways. And whenever he has an opportunity and hear that his guru is in Vrindavan or doing parikrama, he will go and visit. One time, on the last night, the night before Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was to leave, some sannyasi was taking the pilgrims to visit a Vishnu temple. And Prabhupada was thinking that temple I can visit anytime, but I don't get to hear my Guru Maharaj very often. So he stayed. And he says Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was speaking very high philosophy at night. He could not really understand what his Guru was saying, but he stayed and listened. So later on, when he was introduced by the brahmachari and sannyasi for initiation, they were telling Srila Bhaktisiddhanta how, you see, Abai Babu is all helping us this way, that way, bringing his friends, contributing so much money, singing nice bhajan. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, yes, I notice him. He hears properly. He likes to hear. That was the main qualification Srila Bhaktisiddhanta noticed. Out of all this, to hear. Because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprasneya sevaya upadeshanti te jnanam jnanena sarvadashina. One should approach a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and to hear submissively. That's the purpose of approaching a spiritual master. So Srila Prabhupada demonstrated that he likes to hear, and was hearing very attentively. So he got initiation. And later on, after they built that big marble temple in Calcutta, Prabhupada went with his son to see his guru in Radhakund. And you could see that this guru was a bit disturbed. And he confided in Srila Prabhupada. He said, now they're already fighting who's going to stay in which room. Better we sell all the marbles and print books. And he turned to Prabhupada and said, if you have any money, the print books. So basically, there was only two instructions, main instruction, that Srila Prabhupada has received from his spiritual master. To preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the English-speaking world, and you have money, print books. And of course, you print the books, you're not going to stay in the warehouse, you have to distribute them too. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, to make his life mission, and he tried to do that in India single-handedly. We know how tedious it is to make a book. So many devotees involved. And doing different parts. Prabhupada was a one-man show, including buying the paper, bringing the paper to the printer, collecting money. He didn't have enough money. He would just say print just whatever he has. He sell the books, buy more paper, and print more books. That's how he was endeavoring. And even though his Bhagavad Gita manuscript was stolen, he didn't give up. And it was stolen again the second time in New York. Still, he translated the third time. So he finally, he thought India is not listening. And so I have to bring it to the West. America is the most dominant country, most influential. So I spread it there and bring it back to India. This is called the pizza effect. Anyone heard of the pizza effect? The pizza effect is a term that was coined. That, pizza now is very popular, but in Italy before, it's a peasant food. It's like a Sudra food. People who work in the laborers, they need a lot of carbo. Right? That's why people who don't work in the hard labor, they eat all this pizza, they become fat. So it's peasant food. It's not considered a high-class food. But then Italian immigrants went to America, especially New York, and started pizzeria there. And the Americans picked it up as a great meal. So it became very popular in America and came back to Italy and became popular in Italy. So it's called the pizza effect. So that's what Prabhupada did. He brought it, nobody listening in India, so he brought it to America, and he brought his dancing white elephant back to India, and then everyone was listening. Why are the Westerners doing all this? So he did, and very determined. Even one time, he was in his room, and nobody came. Nobody came for the class. And he remembered what his guru said, if there's no one, you preach to the walls. And Prabhupada did. He preached to the walls. He gave one of the most wonderful lecture. Fortunately for all of us, he recorded it. And that is the introduction to Bhagavad Gita. If he didn't record it, then... And it is a fact. Then Prabhupada showed by this example. Now, nobody came. But how many hundreds of thousands of people have listened to the lecture in the form of introduction. So sometimes it doesn't matter if one audience, two audience. I remember one time in Copenhagen, we had this temple in Frederiksberg. Neighbors were complaining, and the council came and shut us down. Or with the noise. Didn't shut down, but we could not have any Sunday feast for a few weeks. Then they decided, okay, let's do a Sunday feast and the restaurant. So we moved all the chairs and tables in the back, clean up the front part, had a Sunday feast. And the first Sunday feast, I was sitting there going to give class. I look at the audience, 2 Indian ladies and 2 boys. I was not very inspired. Then I remember this, what Prabhupada said. If there's nobody, preach the wall. And I thought Krishna sent them here, so I have to give them the best. And these 2 ladies, that was what, 40 odd years ago, they're still coming to the temple regularly, every Sunday. Big supporters. And these 2 boys, one of them joined as a brahmachari, and the other one was helping Radio Krishna for many years. And both of them bought a full set of Bhagavatam, Chitta Charitam for me later. So all 4 of them became devotees. So you never know who we are talking to. It can be on the street. It can be someone we meet in the shop. They always be present to share Krishna consciousness in whatever way. Even in the friendly, how are you? Good morning, like Prabhupada said. When you go for a morning walk, sometimes the devotee wonder why Prabhupada just say good morning instead of Hare Krishna. And probably if I say Hare Krishna, they don't know what I'm saying. But if I say good morning, they're also saying good morning back. So they're wishing a devotee good morning. Same thing in book distribution. I say Hare Krishna. I say, what is that? Oh, from our country, it's just a greeting. Then they also say Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada was very determined. And sometimes, because he was struggling alone in America, every now and then he would go to the India steamship company to check out when is the next boat going back to India, because he has a return ticket. But we always thought, no, just let me try a little bit more. Let me try a little bit more to fulfill the order of spiritual master. And when you get kind of, discouraged, then you go again, check the timetable. And again, he'll tell himself, let me try a little more. Actually, this little pastime of Srila Prabhupada helped me so much in my book distribution days. When times are really, really tough, and I'm just about to give up, I remember this pastime of Prabhupada. So I tell my mind, okay, half an hour more. If half an hour don't go well, I'll stop. Then after half an hour, I say, another half an hour, another half an hour. And that's how I managed to go through the whole day. So this little trick there. Now, so from Prabhupada Ilamrita, you get so much inspiration. And of course, although Srila Prabhupada had received these 2 main instructions from his guru, Prabhupada did so much more. He did so much more. He started prasham distribution. He built so many temples, farm communities, child protection, cow protection, school preaching, university preaching. All this is to support the 2 main activities of preaching and book distribution. Prabhupada is considered the books are the cutting edge of our preaching mission. Now, how many times you say if there are no books, then what are we preaching? Our 3 minutes of preaching, people forget. But if they take a book, they will always remember. They will become benefited. And Prabhupada said the one who gives the book and the one who receives the book, both are benefited. One time we received the Krishna book he was reading. And he looked up to his servant and said, if everyone just read one chapter, they should go back home back to Godhead. Then he continued reading his up. No, just even one paragraph. Then continue reading. He said, not even one sentence. And then look up. Even one word. Even if they just read one word of these books, there's so much potency in these books. And what happened? You say I should say something with you. Where are the youth? Kunta Prabhu. You said there was a group of youth that I should say something, but they're not here, so I don't have to. Okay. So, as we see more and more Prabhupada disciples, so getting less and less. Even the first generation of grand disciples, so getting older and older. We are not so many years behind the Prabhupada disciples, a few years behind. So therefore, it's very important to the younger generation to actually imbibe these teachings of Srila Prabhupada and the mood of Srila Prabhupada, and what is this ISKCON movement stand for, to continue this legacy that Prabhupada has given us. It should pass on from generation to generation. Therefore, the young one don't look at the old one. What are these old folks? They can't even walk properly anymore. They can't sit on the floor. They're pain and joint. What were they? All these old folks at once upon a time, they were young like you. Now, Smita Krishna Maharaj, he joined his ashram in what, 17? 17 years old? Yeah. Very, very young. He joined and started as a brahmachari in book distribution. Smita Krishna Maharaj was my first Sankirtan leader. I probably gave him a lot of hard time. As, he had a whole bunch of bhaktas with him. The first time he took us out, 3 bhaktas traveling with him to Oslo, distributing a change of heart. And every day he has to come and wake us up. Have to wake us up a few times before we get out of bed. And one of them would be just crawling inside the sleeping bag. So it was Maharaj was always so patient with us. Always very patient, very kind. And because of Maharaj, he always encouraged me to be a leader. Take the lead, be a leader. He always encouraged me that. And that's how we benefit from all these senior devotees. Also, Jamalaya Prabhu. One time I was talking to him, and he was telling me that, I still remember, so long ago. And he said, in Krishna consciousness, we cannot just purify body and mind. We also have to purify intelligence. And later on, I was contemplating on it a lot. And now I understand why. It's so important. Our intelligence is developed from studying Prabhupada's books, the philosophy, so that when we are faced with any challenging situation, normally our emotions get very high. But that's when the intelligence comes in. Because the intelligence determines what is right and wrong. So when our intelligence becomes guided by the philosophy, and especially if we have practiced this philosophy from our realization, we will not be so much affected by the emotional outflow when we face with different situations. We act according to what our intelligence is directing us, rather than our emotion. So thank you very much for that important lesson that I learned many years ago. And also, where's Aristaha Prabhu? When I was a brand new brahmachari in the ashram in Koshnas, so one time I asked Aristaha Prabhu, I said, Prabhu, how long have you been in the movement? And, in his very usual, humble way, he said, I've been only 4 years. And I thought, 4 years? For me, it was like a lifetime. It was like a lifetime, and he said 4 years he's been a devotee. But now you look back, it's approaching 5 decades. We are approaching 5 decades in the temple. So it's such a wonderful thing that Prabhupada has left us, his teaching. And as we travel, I don't travel around the world, but I travel in different parts of the world. I've been in New Zealand, I've been in Australia, Malaysia, of course, Scandinavia, and I've been to China. And you see, the movement of Srila Prabhupada is spreading everywhere. Even in China, although there's so much restrictions, there are more than 2,000 devotees there, spread out all over the country. And they are all conducting programs. They are conducting home programs, they have centers, they have yoga classes. Sometimes you have yoga classes where there's like 100, 150 yoga students. And the devotee were teaching them Hare Krishna mantra and doing kirtan. You just have to be careful what we speak. But in the guise of yoga and meditation, they're spreading the holy name. And so this is going on everywhere. So I was thinking also like, okay, in our farm, what can we do? Here I've seen Amvik is developing quite nicely. Somehow you found the niche of how the community work after many years of experiment. Somehow it's working for the residents here. And now we see new hope shining light. 3 brahmacharis. Took some years, but 3 brahmacharis here, they will be the hope of the preaching in Sweden, dynamic preaching. But I was also thinking older devotees, doesn't mean we retire in the farm, we cannot preach. Nowadays, there's so much online preaching going on. You can do so much online preaching. When during the COVID time, because we were not able to go out, one devotee from Bangalore, India came to Malaysia, and he taught the devotees how to do the Gita Gyan program. The Gita Gyan is 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, 1 day, 1 chapter, finished in 18 days. So he has the whole structure, everything is written down. And I've seen how devotees who never preached before were conducting classes. They just followed the format. 1 hour, 1 session. So you could be doing that maybe not every day, once a week. Sit in the comfort of your home. All we need is just a computer and internet connection, and we can reach out to so many people. So the first time we did it, we advertised in the newspaper. We had 1,800 people registered. And in the end, 900 people followed through the program. So, of course, in Malaysia, there's a lot of Indians. Maybe here you will get 100. It's still good, very good. So in this way, we just think of different ways how to honor Srila Prabhupada. We talk about putting Prabhupada in the center. It's not just about putting a center in the temple room. Daily worship is okay, but to honor his teachings, the legacy he left, and the preaching movement he created. Recently, I came across a YouTube Burman brahmachari, I don't know where he's from. He was telling a story of how Atmatattva Prabhu, the Prabhupada disciple, when we were celebrating the 100th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada, Lokanath Maharaj started this Padayatra by bullock cart traveling all over India from village to village. So Atmatattva Prabhu was in this party, and they came to Rishikesh. And in Rishikesh, Atmatattva Prabhu saw this yogi sitting in a small cave doing meditation. So he approached him and asked, he said, "My dear sadhu, what are you doing?" And this yogi said, "I have studied the, what do you call it, Samhita Shastra, something. It's something related to astrology. And this astrology, by looking at bodily features, they can determine your past life. So Atma Prabhu got curious. He took out the Back to God magazine and he showed him the picture of Prabhupada. So this yogi, he did some measurement, very carefully studying the picture, and then he looked up, he said, "Do you know who he is?" Atma Prabhu said, "Yeah, he's my guru." "No, do you really know who he is?" And I say, "Yeah, he's the founder, chair of the International Society for Krishna Conscious Movement." He said, "No, you don't really know who he is." Then he explained. He said there are 4 sampradayas: Brahma, Sri Sampradaya, Lakshmi, Kumaras, and Shiva Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya. And then you have the Sampradaya Acharya. Madhva Acharya is for the Brahma Sampradaya. You have Ramanuja Acharya for Sri Sampradaya, Lakshmi. And then you have Vishnu Swami, who is for Rudra Sampradaya, and Nimbaka Acharya for Kumara Sampradaya. He said this person, he is the incarnation of all the 4 sampradayas and all the 4 sampradayas Acharya. So I was not sure, because I never heard of that before. So I was thinking about it, and before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, Narada Muni went to see Krishna because he was feeling kind of anxious that Kali Yuga is approaching, and how are all these, and Krishna will be going back to the spiritual world, he will be disappearing. So who is going to deliver all these fallen souls in Kali Yuga? So he went to see, and at that time, Krishna was at the house of Satyabhama, and he came back to Rukmini's house. And Rukmini has made all the preparation, cleaning the house, decorating flower, fragrance, everything, to receive him. So when he set him on his bedside, washed his feet, Krishna noticed that Rukmini was feeling very downtrodden, very sad. He said, "Why are you feeling so sad? Just now when you're receiving me, you were so happy, and then now suddenly you're sad." He said, "You don't know. You will never know. Radharani know, I know, but you don't know." He said, "What is it that I don't know? Tell me." Then Rukmini said, "Soon you'll be leaving me. That's why I'm feeling sad." And then Krishna pacified Rukmini. He said, No, I'll never leave you. This pastime, husband and wife. And just at that moment, Narada Muni passed by in the window, and Krishna felt a little bit embarrassed and invited, "Guruji, please come in." And when Narada Muni came, he was also looking very down and sad. And Krishna was thinking, what is going on today? My wife is sad. My Guruji is also sad. What is going on? So he asked, he said, and Narada Muni explained that I'm feeling anxious because of all these conditions. So after you leave, who's going to deliver them? Then Krishna said, "Don't worry, I will appear in Kali Yuga. I'll appear as Gauranga. And now you go everywhere, to heavenly planets and even to the spiritual world, to announce and tell all my associates to appear before me." So he went. He told Lord Shiva, he told Lord Brahma. He went to the spiritual world. He saw Krishna being bathed by the gopis and the queens of Dwarka. And Krishna was also telling Radha to appear. And so then Krishna told Narada Muni, "You go and tell Balaram also to appear before me. And also after that, I'll send my Senapati Bhakta." So when I thought of and also this is also referred to by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that there will be a great devotee who traveled through different continents to spread the holy name. So one time, some devotees were reading this to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada, in a very humble way, said, "They're talking about me." And then he changed the topic. So Prabhupada is Senapati Bhakta, the chief commander, very powerful commander of Chaitanya Sankirtan movement. And it's also stated that in this Kali Yuga, with the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the four sampradayas will merge into one sampradaya under the banner of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because the different sampradaya, they're teaching different aspects of our Vaishnava philosophy. One is emphasizing the oneness with the Supreme. Another is emphasizing the difference. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu combined two philosophies into Achincha Beda Beda Tattva, simultaneously one and different. So when you take into consideration these statements, how the sampradaya is merged into one sampradaya under banner of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Prabhupada is a Sena Bhakti Bhakta, it's not a long stretch of the imagination that of what this yogi was saying, that, is an incarnation of the four sampradayas and the four sampradaya acharya. Because Prabhupada represents the philosophy of all the four sampradayas through the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Achincha Beda Beda Tattva. So we all talk about Prabhupada, we glorify Prabhupada, but do we really, really know how great Prabhupada is? Who he really is? What a powerful personality he really is. And so we should keep this memory fresh in our mind by regularly, every day, reading Prabhupada books. Actually, back in 1969, December 69, Prabhupada in a lecture to Hamsadutta, he was telling him that now study Bhagavad Gita, soon I'll be giving a test. And then for those of my students who pass this test, they'll be awarded Bhakti Shastri. And then they'll study Bhagavatam, and they'll be awarded Bhakti Vedanta. Bhakti Vaibhav, and then Bhakti Vedanta. So he wanted everyone to inherit his name of Bhakti Vedanta. So, anyone doing Bhakti Shastri already done Bhakti Shastri? Good. You did also, no? Have you done? You're going to? Any of the Matajis did Bhakti Shastri? Very good. Now, when are you going to do Bhakti Vaibhav? I did a shortcut last year. I didn't want to do, but His Holiness Japataka Maharaj keep pushing. So much so that last year he sent one devotee specifically to Malaysia to make sure that I and two other devotees do the Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhav. So I did both of this in 3 months. I did Bhakti Shastri, then straight away I did Bhakti Vaibhav. And then I reported, I said, okay, now I've done Bhakti Vaibhav. And said, when are you going to do Bhakti Vedanta? I said, I don't know. Maybe later this year. But when you actually study, but sometimes devotees say, oh, I don't have time to read, I don't have time to read. But I remember when we were on book distribution days, how we get to read so much. We take prashad one hand, and one prashad one hand, and book on the other hand. And that's how we read. No time wasted. Every opportunity, isn't it? Janeshwar Prabhu, Mukunda also. We were reading all the time, isn't it? Every spare moment. If you don't give time to devotee to read, they will come and complain. They will come and complain. Prabhu, you're giving me so much service. I don't have time to read. So it's built in. I hope it's still going on in Sweden. But in Denmark, I see that devotees are still into the reading. So that's very nice. That's how we honor Prabhupada, by reading his books. Because Prabhupada spends so much time, so much effort in, when people sleep, he's awake translating. And Prabhupada, wherever he goes, there's no jet lag. It's amazing. Everywhere he goes, he follows the same routine. Now when I come from Malaysia to Europe here, I'm okay. But when I go back, I suffer. It takes me like 3 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks to adjust to the time. Because I don't come here just for a few weeks, I come here for 2 months, 3 months. My body is completely adjusted to Western time, European time. Then when I go back, it's 6, 7 hours different the other way. I find it very difficult to sleep. I try to sleep early, I wake up in the middle of the night and then I can't sleep. Long time to adjust. But Prabhupada, anyway he goes, same time he keep. Through 3 hours and he translates. So much effort he put into it. And one time he received a book, he was reading from cover to cover and he was lamenting. They are not reading my book. They are not reading. They think these books are only for distribution. Actually, I've written this for my disciples. Meaning these are my followers, my disciples, my grand-disciples, great-grand-disciples. For the next 10,000 years, Prabhupada is the Sampradaya Acharya. Not just for ISKCON, for all the Vaishnava community. So we are very, very fortunate here to be in Prabhupada's movement. So all I can say is just whatever, no matter how difficult it is, how tough it is, just hang on. If you speak to any of the senior devotees, you may look at them very stable, very peaceful, looking very serene, happy. They all have gone through their challenges. They've all gone through their hard times, every one of them. So it would be good to listen to them. How did they go through all these hard times? Because you will face the hard times. This is one thing I can promise you. I cannot promise you a lot of things, but this is what I can promise. You will face your challenges in different ways. And Prabhupada also told the devotees in the morning walk in Vrindavan. He said there will be challenges. And so therefore the practice, the austerity that we practice will give us the character, the strength, and the discipline, that when Krishna tests us with challenges, we will be able to overcome those challenges and become stronger. We hear sometimes we say, if we take 1 step towards Krishna, Krishna takes 10 steps towards us. What does that mean? Does Krishna just make everything easy for us? And then we get spoiled? What happened to kids who are spoiled? They grow up with no spine. When they feel challenges, they crumble. But kids who have to work hard for everything, they become very strong. So when they say you make 1 step towards Krishna, Krishna takes 10 steps towards us. Sometimes see us sincere, Krishna puts some obstacles. It's how we perceive those obstacles. We see these obstacles are great. Oh, I cannot. Then we miss the lesson that Krishna is giving us. Just like we go to the gym. You go to the gym? Anyone go to the gym? Anyone been to the gym before? Yeah. So when you do weightlifting or you push weight, you put something very light or you put something hard. Why? Because the resistance builds your muscles. Isn't it? So when we face resistance in our Krishna consciousness, we push against those resistance because this resistance is given by Krishna for us to push against, to develop our character, the muscles of our character. The more we push, the stronger our character. That's how I would say. You are very, very fortunate. Three Brahmachari and traveling Sankirtan. You have caught the bug, the Sankirtan bug. Very fortunate. That's the best training you'll get. Yesterday, 2 days ago, one couple from former Soviet, can't remember which way, Georgia or... Oh, by the way, there's your disciple Keshava. He sent his regard from Georgia, Maharaj. And his wife, Anita, she asked me in the car, said, Prabhu, you've been devotee for many years. What is your most memorable time that you can remember? I said, that's easy. When I was on traveling Sankirtan. when I was in book distribution. That was the best time ever. Not this big position. The bigger the position, the bigger the headache. Why? Sometimes I cannot understand why devotees striving for position, striving for leadership or managerial position. They have no idea what they're getting themselves in for. The bigger the position, the bigger the headache. So those are the best times. Free, like a bird. Just nothing to worry, just travel and just go and distribute books and good comradeship. You come back. Because you're facing this materialist the whole day. Doesn't matter how crazy the devotees who are traveling with you are, you come back, you just want to embrace them. You're so happy to see someone sane. Every day you come back to the Sankirtan when you're so happy to see them. And you develop a friendship, lifelong friendship.